When demons get aggressive, then it's time to be really afraid. Published by Realidad Alterna in November of 2021, this scary video shows a terrifying, malignant incident caught on camera, captured in a scary haunted house. Tim sets up his camera and immediately hears a strange noise behind him. As he's reading something out loud, a window pane starts opening and shutting like mad. The lights start flashing in both rooms, and later, with the night vision on, a chair comes flying out of another room. It doesn't look like it's thrown, rather like it rises, but the scariest part is yet to come. As Tim reads a ritual out loud, a chair comes flying behind him, knocking him over, and seated into the chair. Later, he hears strange knocking from the basement. And when he goes to investigate, creepy groans sound distantly, but they seem like they're all around him. There is something truly to fear in this demon house. Are you ready to face it? In the winter of 2012, this YouTuber was almost a goner when a mother black bear decided to charge at him, not once but twice. Speed shooter XT was hunting in this Oregon forest when he encountered some bears nearby and began filming. The bear starts off by keeping her distance, but ultimately begins charging in his direction. The most scary part of this entire video is the look on the mama bear's face when she begins approaching, played in slow motion. The man managed to scare the bear away by being loud, and shortly after, she charges towards him again before the video ends. Luckily, this YouTuber got away safely, considering black bears can run up to 40 miles per hour. So if the bear did chase him, he wouldn't have standed a chance. This submission comes from my new subreddit, where you can post whatever bizarre things you come across in your everyday life. It's reddit.com/r/chillsnarrator if you want to check it out. Lost Cosmonaut 01 says that he has been dealing with paranormal stuff ever since he was a child. Apparently, spirits have always taken an interest in him. Anyway, he lives alone, and one night he managed to take a picture of this possible ghost sighting in his basement. What interests me is that this streak of light highly resembles whatever was shown in number 4. If anyone has an explanation besides the paranormal as to how this could have been caused, then please let me know, and be sure to keep your submissions coming. This exclusive video was submitted by a Redditor named Babe of the Dead on the Chills Narrator subreddit. While lying in bed making a random video, she hears 4 knocks late at night. She looks up in time to see her life-sized stuffed bear apparently come to life. The bear is square against the wall with no room for anyone to sit behind and move its arm. Some people say it's a spirit, while one person suggested that a person could fit inside if they took out the stuffing, which is super creepy considering Babe of the Dead has no idea who it could have been. Who do you think it was? I have no idea aside from astoundingly scary. South Korean ghost hunter unease has caught some really weird things on tape while exploring this abandoned house of spirits. His method of ghost hunting is to pretend he does not believe in the spirits, which he hopes will anger them enough to show themselves one way or another.
어차피 니들이 나한테 물건 던지고 뭘 한다고 한들 다 바람이라고 생각할 거야.
I've never seen somebody use reverse psychology on the spirit world, but it seems to work just as well on them as it does on the living. It could be the wind moving the curtains, but the K2 meter lighting up shortly after has me thinking it's a ghost.
자, EVP 녹음기 한번 해볼게요, 형님들. 녹음을 해보고 일단 그 다음에 좀 잘 맞아 들어간다고 하면 고스트박스를 켜봐도 돼.
unease verifies the paranormal activity in this haunted place with other ghost hunter equipment. It's creepy, but notice there seems to be a lot of wind judging from the way this material is flapping. I was wondering if a strong breeze could set off this motion detector. Let me know. The investigator is very thorough and further confirms this place is haunted with facial recognition software.
와, 씨발 대박. 문 앞쪽에 여기 있네. 지금 야 밑에 밑에 하나 더. 야 뭐야. 야 애기도 있어?
After his camera detects a face, it starts to flash green where it just was. Is this strange glitch a sign of residual paranormal energy? This is also an object moving back and forth on the door in its wake, although that could be the wind. When he moves the phone over the stroller, he sees the spirit protecting it. It's not from just one angle either. It's whenever it passes over the object, which makes me think this ghost sighting video's real. I guess even the spirit world is protective of its young. A man in an undisclosed city hears this noise and begins recording. He sounds like he has anxiety from hearing this noise, and then later in the video you learn something very strange.
Yet again, I can hear that echoing sound, that eerie sound again today.
So obviously that has been going on for some time. However, nobody else around him seems to be upset or alarmed from the noise. Maybe this is some kind of ordinary city sound, and the uploader is pretending to be afraid as a prank. For those of you who have lived in a large city, what is this noise, and why would you hear it on and off for months on end? Sometimes it's better to be blissfully ignorant. Published by Nurk7 to the Ghosts subreddit. The girls in this video heard a bump in the night, so they soon head down into the basement to investigate. When they arrive there, another thud clunks in the darkness, and as they nope right out of there, a whining sound groans as they run up the stairs. While some note that their reaction seems genuine, Noob Vin again pops into this thread. The Redditor who offered a rational explanation to the Ring doorbell entry footage to drop some more practicality, saying the sound seems more like a hinge or some other artificial noise. While this whining sound might be explained away, what of the obvious thud? Is there a ghost dropping a bowling ball down here? Here's a freaky sighting. Imagine you're playing guitar with your friends when something decides to pay a visit. Published by Navigon in November of 2007, this creepy video shows some dudes practicing in a bedroom. One is playing the guitar, the other is singing, and the third is recording the session. But as it turns out, there's a fourth uninvited guest nearby. As they continue to play, the friend filming the session takes a broader shot of the singer, and towering in the doorway behind him is a seemingly tall man, standing sentry and staring into the room. In the comments of this video, David F.E. writes, "It's a humanoid being about 7 feet tall, not a ghost. Many people have reported them before." Whatever the case, in the moment, the friend filming doesn't spot the humanoid. The three continue their session without any reaction, and the next time the cameraman pans over, the figure is gone. They must have spotted the humanoid later in the playback, a humanoid that was so close he could have touched them. What would you do if you saw this over your friend's shoulder? Perhaps one of the creepiest videos ever to grace the internet. This clip will definitely make you a believer. Published by Real Ghost Videos, the original source of this upload is unknown. Filmed at around 3 in the morning, the cameraman enters a room where a child is sitting cross-legged, staring off into the distance. A pair of hands are playing with her hair. The hands assumedly belong to a child hiding in the cupboard behind her, but when the cameraman races over to see who is there, there's nothing but an inanimate doll inside, and not even one with lifelike hands. This doll is stuffed with no discernible fingers. The cameraman shakes the girl, trying to wake her, but she seems in a trance. What's going on here? Is something supernatural happening before our very eyes? I'm convinced. A very similar sounding shriek to the so-called cougar. This one claims the sound is coming from none other than a monster from traditional Latin America folklore known as La Llorona. According to legend, La Llorona was the unloved mother of her 2 sons. Her husband loved his sons more than her and also had an affair with another woman, causing La Llorona to break. She is said to have taken the lives of her 2 boys in a river in a rage, following them in grief by taking her own alongside their bodies. Now she wanders the earth in search of the souls of her sons. The terrifying wailing of her grief is heard throughout Latin America. Those who hear her cries are said to face misfortune or even have their lives taken. So maybe just to be on the safe side, turn down the volume for this one. Published to YouTube in September of 2018, the horrifying demonic scream at the start of the video definitely doesn't sound human. In fact, it makes you want to urge whoever is filming to get someplace safe, fast. Instead, he films outside on the rain-filled streets at night as La Llorona screeches demonically in an animalistic cry. Shortly after, a more human-like women's weeping is heard. The man approaches the phantom voice in the darkness. It's difficult to make out a figure in all this, but he speaks to her, and she responds, which makes one think this is a real human woman making these sounds, not La Llorona after all.
¿Tienes dulce? ¿Tu esposa?
After a while of the man chatting back and forth with her, and then answering his radio, the woman falls silent. Barry in the comments says, "I understand Spanish. She seems to have multiple personalities. Was that inhuman sound made by a human person? Someone with multiple personalities? Perhaps someone possessed? Or is this La Llorona in the flesh?" 3 friends bravely choose to summon Bloody Mary while one of their parents records. They recite her name 3 times in the mirror, and when nothing happens, they decide that the legend is a bust. The dad makes fun of them for a little bit, and they go on with their day.
I guess now we know that Mary Worth doesn't like you.
According to them, it wasn't until much later that they actually looked at the video and noticed some strange occurrences that made them upload it onto YouTube. Look at the countertop in the upper left-hand corner.
Oh, please, come on now. Well, what other ideas?
I don't know, other ideas of how to get her to jump out of the mirror at us.
Maybe it takes a little longer.
Like how long?
I don't know, like a couple minutes.
The candle appears to move by itself on at least 2 separate occasions. I guess it could have been magnets, but I really don't understand how. It's important to add that they were all picking the candles up to light them just a moment earlier, and nothing was hidden underneath. Give me your best guess as to how they moved these candles. Or better yet, tell me if you think it was Bloody Mary who was moving them. Okay, listen to this Buzz Lightyear toy and tell me what you hear wrong.
I am Buzz Lightyear to infinity and beyond.
It has a deep voice at times, which is strange enough, but the real problem is that
his AAA batteries died, people.
Ironically, a toy that's based on a movie about toys coming to life appears to have actually come to life itself. The longer he records, the more twisted and deranged the toy becomes.
To infinity and beyond.
Oh God.
The collectible toy belongs to a YouTuber named Joe Bean Videos, and I have little reason to doubt what he says. With that said, Joe Bean Videos doesn't actually show us that the AAA batteries are not working. He could have put them in another device to demonstrate that they are drained. Also, I once heard that toys can sometimes hold a small charge even after the batteries have died. Since this video goes on for quite some time, however, I doubt this is what is happening here. A man named Donald Jester uploaded this ghost video from 2003. Nothing is by this table, and then for an instant there appears to be what Donald refers to as a ghost girl. I don't necessarily agree that there is enough detail to tell if this was a ghost or not, let alone if it was a girl, but there is something there. Since this video was taken in December and the front door is open, I guess it could be cold enough to be someone's breath or something else from outside. This footage comes from India, where a woman is seen cleaning up at a sink. Suddenly, a dark figure appears behind her and gives her a hard shove from behind. She turns around only to find the room empty and hurries away. A YouTube channel called Exploring with Felicity goes in search of a spirit called the White Lady of Lancashire, who is said to be looking for her lost child. Felicity stands over her memorial, or rather her memorial stands over her, and she says the words which, according to legend, are meant to make the statue's eyes open.
I stolen your baby.
This push from behind is probably real because you can hear someone laying hands on her before she takes a step forward. Felicity feels dizzy and immediately regrets ever provoking the supernatural. The weather worsens and the wind picks up this wail, which sounds like a banshee more than an animal. Felicity heads down the trail with haste and finds out for herself that the legends are all real after all. A shadowy form glides across the trail and then disappears. It's too far away to see for certain whether this was a normal person or the lady herself, so we may never know for sure.
Bro, this door keeps moving on its own.
This door is moving by itself, but I suspect it's just the wind. With that said, I think I can hear some voices in the background, yet the reflection in the glass shows no one is there. Listen for yourself. After seeing a video like this, I'm gonna go check my locks. Next video comes from the Kaluzhsky airport in Russia. One of the planes loses all stability and wobbles unsteadily, trying its best to navigate a safe path through heavy air currents. The pilot continues to wrestle with the controls, which are becoming more unstable by the minute, and I think I see a small fire under the wheel. If he misses the runway here, there's no circling around for a second chance. The wings dip unevenly as the plane disappears behind the tree line. No one can see what is happening and they listen for the worst. A short while later, the plane miraculously emerges from behind the trees and touches down. The passengers get to live another day. Unknown creatures can be startling, but none more so than this one. This clip submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by KidRob97, wondering what in the heck this creature is. Suggestions in the comments range from a bat to a giant flying squirrel to a calago, which is a flying lemur. Knowing what it actually is wouldn't make this footage any easier to watch. The creature is making one of the most agonizing sounds the human ear has ever heard while it bounds across the ground, hopping and unable to fly. The people have somehow caught the animal, which is tethered to a stick. If you've never seen this type of creature up close, this isn't the way you'd want to encounter it. People in the comments wonder if the animal somehow got stuck on this branch. However, the poor creature ended up in this position. I think we can all agree with Lisa's Matrix that this is just heartbreaking. These YouTubers are about to come face to face with a situation none of us would want to deal while out on the water.
Hey!
The boat would have practically cleaved him in half had he not paddled away at the last second, and as the other boat passes, you can see one person is facing the wrong way, and the other is absent-mindedly holding a fishing rod. Nobody is guiding the engine like they should have been. Everything is okay in the end, but like the YouTuber says, he wouldn't operate a car without looking where you're going, so you shouldn't drive a boat like that either. Let this be a lesson to look where you're going on the water, and if you're in a small paddle paddle boat like he was. Always be sure to look up when you hear an approaching engine. Vorkuta was a coal mining settlement during the Soviet era. It has since become a semi-deserted wasteland. Published by Vagabond, this adventure seeker went to check out the ghost town at the end of the world.
Here is roughly more than 200 people.
On the background of such amount of abandoned buildings, an active mine looks surrealist.
Traveling there by train, the only accessible means of transport to the area, he encounters the first steam engine that ever appeared in the area in 1944. The once thriving city was served by 13 coal mines in its heyday, where workers received a good salary and twice the pay they might back home due to the added northern coefficient pay. Directly across from clean bright offices are empty derelict buildings. Other empty structures are topped with massive piles of snow. Atop an enormous 9-story building is a phrase that translates to "Glory to the conquerors of Arctic territories." Vagabond also takes in the coal miners' quarters, located on the Vorkuta River embankment. Would you be able to live in this half-abandoned Arctic town? You'd better learn to love the cold. This paranormal activity was caught on a camera that's displaying an incorrect time. A YouTuber named For Your Viewing Pleasure thinks they have caught a ghost on video sometime around 3 a.m., not 1:24 like the camera says. Regardless, some creepy moments have been caught on tape as their home CCTV system plays back a bizarre ghost-like in front of the camera. Another thing that's weird besides the ghost is how the background goes totally black for 6 seconds and then even stays black for 1 second after the ghost is no longer caught on tape. For Your Viewing Pleasure says they hope this is a bug, even though they think it's probably paranormal. One person suggested that he has not caught a ghost sighting on video, but a moth instead. These creepy moments caught on camera from 2 to 4 seconds do look like possible wings in motion when slowed down, but I'm not sure what to think. Both sides have good arguments, so take one final look and tell me if this looks like a paranormal security video to you or not. It's 3 in the morning when a YouTuber named QTube hears a knock at his door. He begins recording for his own safety and debates whether or not he should even look outside. Whoever knocked must have immediately ran away and left a package for him to open, which he soon does. I was half expecting some kind of rigged device or something like that, but what's really inside is just as weird. If this video is to be believed, then someone woke up QTube in the middle of the night for no other reason than to give him a pizza box with a gummy pizza inside. It's either the work of someone with a bizarre sense of humor or else totally insane. The whole event leaves QTube cautious and confused. Prank or not, he doesn't exactly seem thrilled about being the target of someone in the middle of the night, and I can't say I blame him. Let me know if you think this was just a harmless joke or if the next home delivery is going to be much worse. This video was taken on a creature expedition deep in the woods of Alabama. Is this an unknown creature caught on tape? They think they see a figure hiding between 2 trees, and when they zoom in for a closer look, they hear a deep noise. Well, some people think this is a cryptid noise. I'm pretty sure it's just the sound of the zoom lens going in and out of focus. Do you think this is a creature sighting they've caught on camera? I think they were just creeped out in some admittedly scary woods. We've all played Call of Duty, but what's it really like to be on the front line? This first-person footage will give you an idea. The Famous World published this footage in January of 2018. The video, which is 25 minutes long, is filmed from the perspective of the driver of the US Humvee. You can see more vehicles in front and someone outside guiding the driver to position the Humvee as a blockade. The driver tells his commander that the opposing forces are taking fire, which you can hear in the background.
You're looking south, right? Look where Gonzo's firing. Kilo 05, this is truck 5. Can you give us the distance and direction over?
The driver then hops outside and fires in the direction of the opposing forces. Following some back and forth, the driver arms himself and crosses the desert in open view to cover his brothers in arms, one of whom is hurt on the ground. They load the man into one of the Humvees, and then there's a good amount of running back and forth between the barricade and the Humvee. At some point, they load up to head off. It's unclear whether the opposing forces stood down, but what is clear is the scary standoff was handled textbook by these men. John of a paranormal channel called Exploration Unknown investigates an abandoned farmhouse late at night. He and two other ghost hunters split up and then reconvene downstairs to discuss what they found, which was little more than some empty rooms and loose steps.
The floors upstairs are pretty spongy. I did it, but I doubt it.
After talking with Tim, John walks through the first floor, and at 11 minutes a shadow figure is caught on tape moving above him.
We've got the K2 meter over here in this window. We're getting things set up. Alright. And then in here, we got Josh on the porch.
It's not Josh because Josh is on the porch outside, and it's not Tim because they just had a conversation about how dangerous the floor was up there. And for some reason the legs remain covered in darkness, even though enough light hits the area to show the banister is brown, so there's a strong chance that this ghost video is real. This video is also posted on my Chills Narrator subreddit by a user named Bboars. Whenever they find themselves at this particular highway intersection, their Lexus starts beeping out of control.
Okay, this intersection, it always happens here.
These innovative car sensors are designed to alert the driver when someone is in front of the car. No one is anywhere near them, but here you see both of the yellow arrows are lit, meaning it detects someone straight ahead. Seconds later, you can see the right arrow is on, which means that someone is now moving to the right. I just wanted to stress that this never happens at any other intersections, only this one. And according to Bboars, this event has occurred 4 times in the past 2 years alone. With this evidence in mind, this intersection could definitely be the haunting ground of someone who didn't make it across the road in one piece. This intriguing unidentified flying object sighting was captured on a windy night in Spain in 2009. A full moon is looming overhead. Watch to the left of it.
You know, it's kind of funny. You see like a little shadow over there on the left side of the moon there. I'm floating around there. You see that? I don't know. I really can't tell.
A strange light formation appears. At first, the lights are in disarray.
Wait a minute, look at holy shit, look at that. Look at the shape. Oh my god. Whoa, that's cool. You see that? Yeah. Look at it, it's covered right.
But then they form a triangle.
Front of it, look at perfect shape. Oh, that is
Many in the comments are astonished and are wondering if this is for real. What do you think? Ever tried to poke a thread through the eye of a needle? Well, that's basically what bus drivers do on Needles Highway in South Dakota. This video is not for the claustrophobic. Highway 87 near Rapid City, South Dakota, and Custer State Park earned its nickname due to its narrow, single-lane roads, deadly defying twists and turns, and of course, the needles, which are narrow, granite tunnels that vehicles navigate. That is, if their drivers have got the guts. The tunnels were created by blasting through mountains, forming walls of sheer rock on either side. Believe it or not, some buses attempt the crazy feat of driving their big hauls through the narrow tunnels. These drivers show no fear as they prepare to undertake a Mission Impossible level task of weaving down this dangerous road while also looking out for falling rocks. Just watching makes you hold your breath in anticipation, but never fear. Slowly but surely, this particular driver succeeded with only inches of room to spare on either side of the tunnel. Maybe you aren't paranoid, but you might be followed. Published by Jasco in June of 2021. This is part 8 in a series of randonautica experiences over several days. Jasco and his crew are using the app down in Florida State. During their randonautica tour, they find an old sofa in the forest.
But Wendy's?
What we're here for is this. Yeah.
After some coaxing, Jasco lifts a mysterious item that's tucked into its cushions.
Looks like a video game or something. What the heck?
Is it an iPod?
Yeah, what's one of the old iPhones?
No.
Why is it like in saran wrap? Oh,
Wait.
That item turns out to be an old iPhone saran wrapped to the letters C and F.
Feel a little bit safer.
It is an iPhone. Look at that. iPhone.
Bro, I always wanted they had like a coral one.
That's so weird.
Okay.
What?
We just found a phone in the middle of nowhere.
I know, it's super old.
They try to turn the iPhone on, but its battery is empty. Later on the mission, Jasco says Chris has been hearing something all day, and now he hears it too.
Like, where else could it be? I don't know.
Dude, I don't know. Yo,
like, what would
literally,
it be?
hold on. Can we talk about something quick? You've been hearing things like all day long. Like, you're like, bro, what is that? Like, I hear like some type of beeping.
A beeping sound. Jen finds its source.
This!
What?
It's a tile tracker, bro.
That's one of those little...
A tile tracking device. She says she found it in between the middle console. They run it over, but it's still functioning.
Hold on, I'm gonna...
All this time they were being tracked. Someone was in their rental car the day before and planted it. But who? My guess is someone with ill intentions. This thermal camera captured a baby's cry, living people, and not so living people. First, the baby is heard. Next, a not so living person is seen on camera. And again here. Apparently, this is the background without the thermal camera on. And then lastly, a female EVP is heard. What does she know? My guess, I think she knows who the not-so-living person is lurking around the room. A team of cryptid hunters make a wild discovery deep in the woods of North Carolina. In the Uwharrie National Forest is where they find a mysterious imprint that extends 13 inches long. They think this is not a footprint but a handprint, with oversized knuckles at one end and a wide base of the palm at the other.
Hey guys, I'll show you what we just found. We got us a 13-inch tracker, just a little over. We sure did. We got toe prints. We got the break in the middle. Right here. Yes, sir.
I kind of see what they mean, but I'm not sure if this is from a cryptid or not. It kind of looks like where a rock could have been or something. I'm also wondering why there aren't any prints to accompany this alleged handprint, but at the same time, I don't have a solid explanation for what caused this, and was wondering what you think about this extra creepy sighting in the woods.
Well guys, so far we've found what looks like to be either a handprint or knuckle prints again. And we just come across this track right here, so. That's awesome. That is awesome.
Published to YouTube by Vision Paranormal in August of 2018. The channel writes in Spanish that an unidentified sense of fear was pressing upon employees at some government office in Mexico City. Some claim to have seen a monk on the grounds. The channel writes, always at dawn you can hear wailing and screaming until one day the security camera managed to capture that chilling being that scared them every night. Let's take a look. This image was captured in September of 2009 at 1:46 a.m. It appears to be a hooded paranormal figure descending the stairs and moving very slowly through the building. Could this be the so-called cursed monk who's creating such fear within? If so, what did he do to provoke such wailing and screaming? What you don't know can't hurt you, right? Officially shuttered since 1987, it was just announced in February that this century-old building will soon be demolished. Posted to the Ghosts subreddit by Ryan McCullister and originally published to a YouTube channel of the same name, this paranormal team is making one last visit to the old Three Rivers Hospital in Michigan. As they make their way through a doorway, a creepy baby voice is heard in the background.
Hey, blue cheese. Yeah, no.
Look at that smiley face down there.
That's crazy.
So I can see, there you go.
Hey, look at all how dirty the air is down here.
Many in the comments think it's not a baby but a cat. Others think it sounds like the lens focusing, but several Redditors agree that it sounds like a baby. Sparkling Duckling writes, those smiling graffiti faces. Artists tried to stop the ghost baby from crying, unsuccessfully. I think the biggest question now is what's going to happen to all these spirits after this building is demolished. Junior Tor 1 helps his father move a table, and only when they put it down does he notice something he wishes he never caught on camera.
And we picked it up under here, and we carried it out. And when I flipped it over, guess what I discovered? And I stuck my hands under there.
From the view at 36 seconds, it's easy to see how the spider stayed hidden from view. The circled area is where the spider is, and also exactly where he grabbed the table to lift it. For better context, this is where his fingers were, and of course you already know where the spider is. He thinks this is a wolf spider, but someone else claims this to be a dark fishing spider. This is a fierce debate in the comments section of the video, so let's see if we can settle the issue here. Submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by BushWookie83, this Redditor wrote, looks like Mike Myers paying me a visit, WTF is that? Let's watch their submission and see what they're talking about.
Hey man, that was cool. What are you doing? What's going on? You okay? Can I get away? Do you want me to say how you're doing?
There was certainly some debate about this video in the comments. Duck Consume Bread wrote, man, I don't know how you could just sit there. I'd already be moved out, lol. While Neo One Lone Wolf 6985 wrote, it looks like the reflection of your flashlight on your phone, reflecting on certain parts of the glass, giving off the illusion of a face actually. Looks like the exact same tattoo I have of Michael Myers on my arm. Which side are you on here? Let me know in the comments. What would you do if you ran into a massive python in the paranormal all in one night? Published to YouTube in June of 2020 by Catch 'em All Fishing. That's exactly what happened to this explorer as he trapezed through the ramshackle underground city. In fact, Zach seems to have gone here specifically to look for snakes. The abandoned place is, in and of itself, creepy enough. He keeps shouting hello as he begins his journey, and his echo rings eerily throughout the enormous space. The dark, damp place seems like the perfect breeding ground for snakes. At one point, around 4 minutes and 15 seconds, Zach appears to capture the beam of a flashlight bouncing off a distant wall. He also hears voices. He may not be alone down here. He rushes over to see who else is there, but he says the voices have stopped. Then he hears the haunted voices again. It's more like a moaning, which is made even more terrifying by the echo. Then at 5 minutes and 53 seconds, Zach abruptly turns to a doorway, seeming to sense something there, and it appears that something is there. If you watch in slow-mo, an obscure figure is standing in the darkness of the opposite room. Although he got the heck out of there, Zach's night didn't end there. As he's driving home, he crosses paths with what he'd been looking for all along, a snake. Zach chases down an enormous python. He manages to grab it by the tail while the snake tries to bury its head in the sand. He grips the snake near its head and shows the audience its fangs as the python starts to wrap its thick body around his arm. I think this is exactly why you should never grab a python. Zach tries to release the snake into a bag and does manage to collect him and zip him inside without getting tagged. Between encountering what may have been the paranormal in the underground city and prying this python from his arm, one thing's for sure, this dude has nerves of steel. Exorcist Pierre Dulong is a trusted member of French society. In this video clip, a 19-year-old hairdresser is seen being exorcised of a demon. This took place in Gers, began with a pendulum stroke, through which Dulong detected the woman's possession. She screamed, growled, grunted, spit, convulsed, and foamed at the mouth. She also spoke in Spanish, not her mother tongue. Her eyes rolled back in her head as she shook and convulsed. Although the demon fought it the whole way, in the end, the good won. The woman finished with a calm smile and feeling at ease, but sometimes even Dulong can't rid a person of this. He says honesty is the foundation of his reputation, admitting, when I cannot do anything, I announce it right away. Hopefully, for the sake of the possessed, this is rarely the case. Proving demons right, on our paranormal investigation at a haunted hotel, we capture a real shadow person Hatman on video. Are you wondering what a Hatman is? Let Dana Matthews from the site Weak and Weird explain the phenomena. According to Matthews, shadow men came creeping out of the shadows in 2011 when paranormal radio personality Art Bell cast a light into the darkness on his radio show Coast to Coast AM, and the result was a burgeoning community of people coming forward, explaining their encounters with these phenomena. Out of this shadow people phenomena, another slightly different experience arose, encounters with the Hatman. Much like shadow people, the Hatman often appears at nighttime, wearing a wide-brimmed hat, hence the name. Those who encounter him have described him as a solid black mass, darker than a shadow without discernible facial features, and no describable lower body. Apart from a long flowing trench coat, the Hatman is often seen floating and moves without sound, quite frequently in a basement setting. Another quality of this phenomena is that the Hatman tends to appear in places of high negative energy and family dysfunction. This video shows either a Hatman or shadow figure haunting this generally creepy house. The figure flies down a hallway, disappearing into a distant room as the ghost investigators search the house's interior. So what's going inside this house? Is it haunted? The Hatman phenomena is often a recurring one for many people, from childhood to adulthood. Some believe shadow people are evil, like physical medium Amy Allen, who thinks they are interdimensional entities. Although the Hatman and the shadow person might seem one and the same, they do indeed appear to be two separate entities. If you see a Hatman, consider your family dynamics and the energy of your relationships. Does this video make you believe in Hatmen and shadow figures? If so, don't turn around. Paranormal and other strange oddities aren't the only things to be courageous about. Normal everyday occurrences can often result in sheer fear. This video clip reveals one of these horrifying incidents, uploaded to YouTube in November of 2018. The home security footage shows a fire erupting in the home's kitchen, unbeknownst to the people inside the home, who you can hear in the background in another room of the house. It appears as though the homeowners left something cooking on the stove. At first, you just see it rising onto the kitchen counter, then that something erupts into flames. The blaze continues to grow as the fire heats up. You can hear a baby crying in the other room as the family remains unaware to the fact that their kitchen is on fire. Finally, when a high-pitched sound is heard, the homeowners rush into the room. As the flames grow higher, the woman rushes into the room beyond, perhaps to look for an extinguisher. She then opens what appears to be the oven, but the blaze just rises more, and the fire alarm finally starts sounding off. The man then rushes into the room with a bucket of water, a toddler fast on his heels, but when he throws the water over the flames, they jump, causing the man to stumble backwards. As many in the comments of this video note, it appears to be a grease fire, which you should never throw water on. Others suggest they should have grabbed the child and evacuated before making any attempt to put the fire out. Comments also suggest purchasing a new fire alarm and extinguisher, as it took an awfully long time for the alarm to alert them to the danger rising in their home. It does appear as though the flames went out, as the man scoops up his kid and the homeowners leave. Hopefully they got out of there and were able to call the fire department before this fire consumed their entire house. This strange deer keeps repeatedly wandering into the yard of a YouTuber named Free Tickies. It seems to be without a herd, so at first Free Tickies suspects that it could be someone's pet, which is not all that uncommon of an occurrence where he lives in Kentucky. After a minute or so, it becomes evident that this deer is sick with something quite serious. Watch here and you'll see how the deer looks disoriented enough to walk up to another neighbor's house. I have little doubt that it would have wandered straight through the front door if it was open, potentially contaminating the entire inside. The YouTuber says that he called the local wildlife authorities and reported the deer shortly after recording this 2-minute video. I think he keeps a respectful distance for the most part and appears to be safe from any potential contamination. As for the deer, it sadly had to be put down by government officials after it kept walking onto the nearby Route 8 highway. A YouTuber named Sean Daywood is playing outside with his younger friend Ryan when a stranger comes out of the woods, and instead of ordering them off of her property, she demands they come closer to her. Here, she holds onto Ryan's arm and pulls him in when he tries to resist her grip. A much larger man comes out of the woods and backs up his wife. Then the woman turns around and simply says, "Come on," as if she expects Sean to follow. When he says no, she makes it clear that she will take him by force.
What do you mean no? You want me to fight you?
Sean tries to assert his right to leave, and she tells him that he is basically being held against his will.
We're leaving right now. Come on, Ryan. He's not leaving.
When she gets within grabbing distance, Sean feels completely overwhelmed, and he and Ryan run. Who even knows what these adults were up to, or if they were even the property owners in the first place? For all we know, they could have been random strangers looking to do who knows what in the middle of the woods. What are these strange so-called light balls that keep setting this Redditor's cameras off? Redditor Spambone is wondering if the Reddit community has any theories. Well, let's see what we can come up with as well. Let's take a look. This goes on for 2 minutes. Sometimes 2 light balls appear simultaneously. Some say it's obviously a bug, others think it's a web of some kind. Still, others say it's a laser pointer or a reflection of some other light source. Practically, no one thinks this is an orb or paranormal in any way, and neither do I. I'm firmly in the spider or cobweb camp. What do you think it is? 2 friends are wandering across a field to check out an old abandoned house that they are both excited about. I'm not sure, but I think they found this house at night and wanted to come back during the day. Anyway, they find that the house is mostly intact aside from a collapsing roof and decaying debris everywhere. They are just having a casual conversation when suddenly their camera chances upon something totally out of the ordinary.
Glass. The oven. There's an oven door.
Where?
In the middle of the living room.
The roof is off. Holy sh!
Dude, oh my, go.
A completely black figure glides across the doorway from above. What's especially strange is that every square inch of this figure is pitch black even though they are in a room lit by sunlight. It is turned to the side with its head down, but absolutely no facial features are visible. The two friends both turn and run away from the shadowy inhabitant at full speed. I guess they could have a third person with them and just be playing a prank, but their reaction seems a little too genuine for me to think that it is fake. Similarly, if this was just a homeless person upstairs, then they probably would have shouted something like "get out" instead of silently walking across the doorway. Many people think that this is a shadow person, and I think that's a definite possibility. This retro arcade room is ruined by faulty wiring, or else a real ghost. To demonstrate, the owner picks up the remote to his ceiling fan and turns the light off.
Let's see. Oh, there it is, wow.
The lights somehow turn on by themselves despite not touching the remote at all. At 4 seconds, we can see the nearest light switches all the way across the room from the distinctive shark skateboard that he's now standing by, so he couldn't have hit that himself, and no one else is with him. Then, not only does the fan turn on by itself, but it also kind of goes the wrong way for a little bit first, which I don't think is normal. In a different video, the light looks much brighter than before, yet returns to normal brightness when turned off and back on. This time, he turns the light out and leaves the remote on the wall. He steps out towards the middle of the room, and the light comes back on before he even gets a chance to properly set up his camera. Based on what I've seen here, I think these videos are real, because nothing stood out as blatantly fake. If this house is haunted, let's just hope it's not a malevolent spirit. After all, you wouldn't want to give up an arcade setup that nice. A solo exploration turns up some spiritual company in this abandoned factory. Published by Spooky Gautam in January of 2022, this ghost hunter explored the Vatican's factory on his own. As Gautam stands outside, taking the place in, a window shutter swings open. Does this foretell paranormal activity yet to come? Once inside, he is explaining his investigation of this place when the spirits make themselves known.
அதில் வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா சின்னதாக வந்து அந்த விண்டோலாம் அசைஞ்சுது. அது வந்து மேபி வந்து காற்றுல கூட வந்து ஆடி இருக்கலாம் அப்படி தான் நான் நினைக்கிறேன். ஆனால் வர்றப்பே வந்து எனக்கு.
As he continues on, he hears more strange sounds.
Hello?
And later steps on something. What does this mysterious claw belong to? While examining it, another banging resounds. And another louder noise is heard while in this enormous hangar. It seems like he's being followed.
Super bhaiya. Thank you.
Gautam then spies a shadow figure in a darkened window of one of the buildings. The figure walks past, barely discernible in the darkness. He later sees this figure or another up close. When he sets his camera down to go and check it out, something takes out its rage on the camera. Are these spirits camera shy, or are they sending him the message that it's time to leave? A mysterious and creepy video of a seemingly haunted stuffed toy moving on its own has this woman so freaked out that she's probably going to cry. The woman is busy looking at her phone when the object moves towards her multiple times, stopping every time she glances up. Each time its movements are so slight that she's not even sure if the object is really moving or not. At 3 minutes and 19 seconds, she grabs the stuffed toy and brings it near, but less than a minute later, the possessed toy flings itself across the bench and she runs away screaming. I want to say that this video is fake, but you can see the entire room. So if it was someone holding a string, I'm not sure where they would be standing. This footage was taken at the Chapelfield Mall in Norwich, UK. The mall is closed when a mysterious red balloon makes an appearance out of nowhere. As you watch this balloon float around on its own, keep in mind that the air conditioning was off. The escalator was off, and there is supposedly no wind blowing in from the outside. If all of this is true, then how exactly did the balloon move without any air currents? Even more bizarre is how the balloon stays low to the ground the entire time, almost at the height of a child. Could this balloon simply be half deflated, or is it being held by a youthful spirit? This entry involves a series of videos revealing a web of industrial-looking tunnels that weave beneath the campus of Northern Arizona University. The uploader states that in October of 2018, he only reached the bottom of the stairs but recently decided to venture further. Enclosed Granddad writes, NAU was almost established as an insane asylum back in the mid-1890s, and rumor has it that these tunnels would have been part of that. He shares a link, which notes that the building was first built as a reform school for Arizona's so-called vicious youth. It's unclear why it remained empty for years upon completion. That's when, as Granddad mentioned, an insane asylum was proposed by the territorial legislature. For some reason, that wasn't followed through either. What isn't made clear is this short historical literature is when the tunnels were built and for what purpose. The recorder guides us through the dark tunnels, writing, I came across pathways that I could have potentially crawled, shimmied through, but chose not to because 1. They seemed a bit dangerously cramped at points, and 2. I didn't want to spend too much time down there. I don't know how much farther these tunnels go until we find out what those tunnels were used for. The mystery may just be enough to haunt you. Come out and play, posted in January of 2014. This poltergeist knows how to have fun. A group of friends are hanging out along a city river at night. As the cameraman scans the area, one of the girls spots at first a swing swaying back and forth rather forcefully on its own. The night is still, the wind's barely moving the leaves in the trees, and yet this swing is moving with energy. As Lex Cotton writes in the comments, the thing is moving too fast to be pulled by strings or the wind. Who then is moving it? And do you want to play? I sure wouldn't, because it looks like this is the work of a nefarious ghost. A YouTuber named Hello Ryan Holmes lives in a house that you and I want no part of. Scary noises have become part of a daily ritual stemming from paranormal activity, or so he suspects. So when it happens again, Ryan grabs a camera to see if he can catch a ghost on video.
Did you just hear that? I definitely just heard somebody run up the stairs.
Ryan thinks he hears creeping noises of a ghost running up the stairs. Ghost or not, he is definitely not alone. Camera in hand, Ryan gets no further than the kitchen before he realizes.
What the f?
All of the cabinets have mysteriously opened on their own, and when he goes to close them...
Why the f is everything open? What the f? What the f?
He turns around only to find that the ghost has moved every object in his kitchen back to where it was. It looks normal at first, but I think there is an editing cut here at 2 minutes when he briefly zooms into the cabinet for no reason at all. He could have stopped recording, moved all of the objects, and then started recording again to make it seem like it was all done in one take. A doll with a creepy aura is chilling enough. So what happens when the doll actually moves? The G-Team Paranormal Investigators posted this video to YouTube in March of 2019, writing, after my recent video with Omar, I decided to take his haunted dolls home with me that night. I did not bring them inside my home. I left them in a shed out back. After watching back the video I did with Omar a few times, I decided to introduce his dolls to mine and turn the camera on. The video reveals an unsettling movement. As Patty, the host, is talking about the dolls, you can see one of the porcelain dolls' heads moves ever so slightly.
Because I don't want to keep her, but I'd like her to go to a good home. I mean, if there's somebody out there that's interested, I don't... Did that thing just move?
As if she's listening. Is she? If she is, Does she like what she's hearing? She must not have gone full on Chucky when the camera stopped rolling, so we can assume so. A YouTuber decides to take on the Candyman challenge at home all by himself. He leaves the lights on and recites the name of the cursed urban legend 5 times. This is supposed to summon the real Candyman, a tall figure with a hook for a hand that the movies were later based on, but it doesn't work, so he decides to say the name 5 more times. A different Candyman challenge by a YouTuber named Kenny Bilski looks slightly more authentic. He waits until 3 a.m. to try and capture the Candyman on camera, and it all goes wrong upon reciting his name for the 5th and final time.
Candyman. 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 Candyman.
Kenny is waiting to get jumped by the hook-handed maniac himself, but nothing happens, so he bravely decides to try again.
Okay, Candyman. 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 Oh! Oh! No, 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 no! What the Okay, I'm getting the out of here. I'm getting the
2 loud noises occur. One on the other side of the garage door, followed by a second bang right beside him, and then the garage door opens. I was waiting for Candyman to be standing on the other side, but Kenny nopes out of there before we get a chance to see it for ourselves. I don't see anyone's shoes on the other side, so I'm guessing no one is there, and he opened it with a remote control. But when he swings the camera around at 4 minutes and 54 seconds in the mirror, you can see the head and shoulders of a shadow figure peeking from around the corner, a possible Candyman sighting from the shadows. Uday Hindi is exploring an old building when he comes across a little girl staring at him from the corner of the room. The door furthest away from both of them shuts all by itself before he gets a chance to investigate. Despite this, Uday Hindi bravely pushes into the next room and discovers she is not a girl, but rather a creepy life-size doll. He roughly handles the doll from room to room and throws it on the floor, and that's when the doll decides it's had enough.
إخوان أنا انسحبت من المغامرة مش خوف ولكن أنا تأذيت كثير.
I saw no strings when the doll moved, did you? Anyway, he is busy analyzing some strange and possibly demonic markings on the doll when suddenly this happens. Watch and try and translate what he says shortly before it goes all wrong.
طلعوا يا إخوان حتى الإشي داخلي.
This part I feel like could have been from the way the doll was leaning on the wall before it fell, but the incident before that I feel could be quite real. Imagine what it might be like to sail on the open sea, nothing but water all around you. Now imagine that same water at night, posted to the oddly terrifying subreddit. This clip was originally posted on TikTok by Oily White Hat who works on an oil rig. The short clip shows the black inky darkness that surrounds the rig at night. It's pitch black all around. You can't see past the handrails. Redditor Timbo Flex writes in the comments, "Yeah, I've been on a ship in the middle of the Pacific at night with only red lights. The stars and the colors above you are amazing, and below you is just a noisy void of inky blackness. It's like you're floating in space near the event horizon of a black hole looking away. Would you be able to stand it out here on the edge of the event horizon? As amazing as it sounds, I think I'm gonna stay on land." This home in Villisca, Iowa is where an axe-wielding maniac once took the lives of an entire family and 2 guests. Whoever did it was never brought to justice, and now, more than 100 years later, the restless spirits of those left behind have yet to find peace. A YouTuber named Lighthouse Music senses the spirit of children hiding in the closet and starts recording. She speaks in a nice tone and offers candy. Nothing happens for some time until... Then, as if further proof was needed, the spirit appears to follow some other basic commands.
Just a little bit further, or can you close it?
They even asked the child to open the door wider than before as a test, and it timidly seems to obey. But the part that really has me convinced is at the very end.
Just in case that was you, I'm gonna do as promised. I'm gonna leave you some candy. I'm gonna leave it right here, over here on this chair for you, okay? Well, thank you.
Notice how the door shuts harder than any other time in the video as soon as the spirit gets what it wants. Maybe it could be a draft from a nearby window opening and closing the door, but this definitely seems like childlike behavior to me. Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.